Have you ever stopped to think about what really happens inside your brain every single morning? What if I told you there is a hidden danger lying in wait in your daily routine that could triple your risk of having a stroke after 60? This isn't a scare tactic, it's science. Most people don't realize that their breakfast choices, how they get out of bed, even what they do with their phone in the first minutes of waking, are quietly working against their brain health. In this video, you will discover the shocking truth behind morning habits that are damaging your brain and learn a simple daily routine that can protect you. If you care about your health or the health of a loved one, this could change everything. You know, there's something happening inside your body every single morning that most people have absolutely no idea about. And if you're over 60, this could be one of the most important things you'll ever learn. Let me explain this in a way that makes complete sense. When you're sleeping at night, your body is in a calm, peaceful state. Your heart is beating slowly, your blood is flowing gently, and your brain is resting. But the moment you start waking up, something dramatic happens. Your body knows it needs to prepare you for the day ahead, so it releases a flood of hormones to get you moving. Think of it like your body's internal alarm clock, but instead of just waking you up, it's also pushing your blood pressure way up. Here's what the science tells us, and this is absolutely shocking. Researchers have found that between 6 in the morning and 12 noon, your risk of having a stroke is at its highest point of the entire day. In fact, studies show that 40 to 50% of all strokes happen during these morning hours. That's almost half of all strokes occurring in just 6 hours of the day. And here's something even more alarming, 24% of all strokes happen within the very first hour after waking up. Just 1 hour. That means the moment you open your eyes and get out of bed, you're entering the most dangerous window of your entire day. Now, why does this happen? It all comes down to something doctors call the morning blood pressure surge. You see, when you're asleep, your blood pressure naturally drops. This is normal and healthy. But when you wake up, your body releases stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline to help you transition from sleep to being awake. These hormones cause your blood pressure to shoot up rapidly. For most young, healthy people, this isn't a big problem. Their blood vessels are flexible and can handle this sudden increase. But as we get older, especially after 60, our arteries become stiffer and less flexible. They can't absorb this sudden pressure spike as easily. And that's when trouble begins. Think of your blood vessels like a garden hose. When you're young, that hose is brand new and flexible. You can turn the water on full blast and it handles it just fine. But after decades of use, that hose gets stiff and brittle. Now when you suddenly turn the water pressure way up, there's a much higher chance something could go wrong. It could burst or crack. That's exactly what can happen inside your brain when you have that morning blood pressure surge with stiff, aging arteries. But here's what makes this even more dangerous for seniors. Research from hypertension specialists has found that elderly people with high blood pressure often have what's called impaired baroreflex function. In simple terms, this means your body's natural ability to control and buffer these blood pressure spikes becomes weaker as you age. Your body used to have a built-in safety system that would kick in and prevent your blood pressure from going too high too fast. But in many older adults, this safety system doesn't work as well anymore. So when that morning surge happens, there's nothing stopping your blood pressure from spiking to dangerous levels. And there's another factor that makes mornings particularly risky. During the early morning hours, your blood is actually thicker and stickier than at other times of the day. Scientists call this a prothrombotic state, but all you need to know is that your blood is more likely to form clots in the morning. At the same time, your body's ability to break down these clots is at its lowest point. So you have this perfect storm, blood pressure spiking, blood that clots more easily, and a reduced ability to dissolve those clots. All happening right as you're waking up and starting your day. This is why doctors and researchers around the world are now paying so much attention to what happens in those first few hours after you wake up. The choices you make during this critical window can either protect your brain or put it in serious danger. And one of the biggest mistakes people make, something that can dramatically increase all of these risks, has to do with breakfast. But that's something we need to talk about in detail, because what most people do in the morning is actually making everything worse. Now let's talk about the morning habit that silently makes all of this even worse: what you do, or don't do, at breakfast. Most people think skipping breakfast is no big deal or even healthy because it saves calories. But for a brain over 60, this can be one of the most dangerous mistakes of the entire day. Large studies following thousands of people for years have shown that those who regularly skip breakfast have a significantly higher risk of cardiovascular death, including stroke and heart disease. In some analyses, people who never eat breakfast had around a 20 to 30% higher risk of deadly cardiovascular events compared to those who eat a morning meal. That is not a small difference. That is the kind of number that changes your life or the life of someone you love. Why is skipping breakfast so harmful, especially after 60? Remember that morning blood pressure surge we talked about earlier. When you wake up, your stress hormones rise and your blood pressure goes up quickly. If you then stay for hours without food, your body stays in a stressed state. Your blood sugar can swing more, your blood vessels become more reactive, and your body releases even more stress hormones to keep you going. Studies show that skipping breakfast is linked to worse blood sugar control, higher blood lipids, and more inflammation, all of which damage blood vessels over time. For an older brain, whose arteries are already stiffer and more fragile, this repeated stress morning after morning becomes a dangerous pattern. There is another hidden problem. Many seniors wake up already slightly dehydrated because they do not drink water during the night. Dehydration makes your blood thicker and more likely to form clots. If, on top of that, you skip breakfast and delay both fluids and nutrients, you prolong this thick blood state exactly during the hours when strokes are most common. Think of your blood like traffic on a highway. When it is smooth and fluid, everything moves safely. When it becomes sticky and slow, any small blockage can suddenly turn into a major accident. For your brain, that accident is a stroke. So the combination of morning blood pressure surge, dehydration, and skipping breakfast creates a perfect storm in your blood vessels. But it is not just skipping breakfast that is dangerous. What you choose to eat can also quietly increase your stroke risk. Many people, especially when they are in a rush, grab something quick and easy: white bread, sugary pastries, sweetened cereal, or even just coffee with sugar. These foods cause a rapid spike in blood sugar followed by a sharp drop a few hours later. For older adults, these swings in blood sugar are linked to more inflammation and damage to the inner lining of the blood vessels, known as the endothelium. When that inner lining is hurt over and over again, it becomes easier for clots to form and for plaques to become unstable. That is exactly the kind of environment where stroke can happen. Studies looking at diet and cardiovascular risk in older adults consistently show that a balanced breakfast with fiber, protein, and healthy fats is associated with better heart and metabolic health. When seniors start the day with a stable meal, for example, oatmeal with nuts and fruit, eggs with vegetables, or yogurt with seeds, their blood sugar rises gently instead of spiking, and their energy and concentration remain more stable through the morning. In contrast, a breakfast loaded with sugar and refined flour behaves more like a dessert than a meal. It gives a quick rush but leaves the brain and blood vessels more vulnerable a few hours later, exactly when many people are out driving, climbing stairs, or dealing with stress. There is also a behavioral trap here. People who skip breakfast are more likely to overeat later in the day, especially in the evening. That means heavier dinners, more late-night snacking, and more strain on the body during the night, when it should be resting. Several studies suggest that eating more of your calories later in the day is linked to higher cardiovascular risk compared to front-loading more calories earlier, in the morning and at lunch. So skipping breakfast does not just affect your morning, it can completely flip your natural rhythm, stressing your heart and brain at the wrong times, day after day. So when you hear someone say, "I don't feel hungry in the morning, I'll just have coffee," and this person is over 60, has high blood pressure, or diabetes, that is not a harmless choice. It is a warning sign. It tells us the body is already out of balance, and the brain is being forced to work without the steady fuel it needs. Remember, your brain uses about 20% of your body's energy. After a night of fasting, it is ready for gentle, stable fuel, not for more stress. If you deny it that, you are not just skipping a meal. You are increasing the pressure inside a system that is already working at its limit. In a moment, we are going to go even deeper. Because breakfast is only one part of the story. There are other common morning habits, like how you get out of bed, when you take your blood pressure medication, and even how you check your phone, that silently push your stroke risk even higher. And the good news is, once you understand them, you can start changing them tomorrow morning. We have talked about what happens inside your body in the morning and how breakfast can make things worse or better. But there is something just as important, the little habits you repeat every single morning without even thinking about them. These habits may seem harmless, but for a brain over 60, they can quietly push your stroke risk higher day after day. The first one is how you get out of bed. Many seniors go from lying flat to standing up in one quick movement. If you have ever felt dizzy, lightheaded, or like the room is spinning when you stand up, that is your body warning you. This is often due to something called orthostatic hypotension, which means your blood pressure drops suddenly when you stand. In older adults, this sudden drop is linked to a higher risk of falls, injuries, and even stroke because the brain is not getting enough blood for a few critical seconds. Studies show that orthostatic hypotension is not rare or harmless in seniors. It is strongly linked with cardiovascular events, cognitive decline, and death. Imagine your brain as a very delicate machine that needs a constant, stable flow of blood. When you jump out of bed too fast, the blood temporarily rushes down to your legs due to gravity, and if your blood vessels and nervous system cannot react quickly enough, blood pressure in the brain drops. For a few seconds, your brain is running on low supply. If your arteries are already narrowed or damaged, these repeated drops and surges in pressure can add stress to the vessel walls. Over time, this unstable circulation pattern increases the risk that a clot or a bleed will occur in a vulnerable area. Another silent habit is the way you handle your blood pressure medication and monitoring in the morning. For many older adults with hypertension, morning is exactly when blood pressure tends to be the highest and most unstable. Research has shown that in elderly patients with high blood pressure, those with elevated morning readings have a significantly higher risk of stroke compared to those whose blood pressure is more stable through the day. Yet a lot of people either forget their morning dose, take it at very different times each day, or never check what their pressure looks like in those first hours. Some think, I feel fine, so it must be okay. But high blood pressure is called the silent killer for a reason. You often feel normal right up until something terrible happens. When morning blood pressure is left uncontrolled, each surge adds more strain to already fragile blood vessels in the brain. There is also a modern habit that almost everyone has now, grabbing the phone as soon as the eyes open. It seems innocent, but the moment you start scrolling through bad news, work messages, or social media, your brain is hit with stress before you have even left the bed. Stress is not just an emotion, it has very real physical effects. It activates your fight or flight system, raising your heart rate and blood pressure and tightening your blood vessels. New research shows that even moderate, ongoing stress can noticeably increase stroke risk, especially in women. If the first thing your brain experiences every day is a flood of stressful information combined with an alarm that yanks you out of deep sleep, you are adding fuel to that morning blood pressure surge. For a younger person with flexible arteries, this may not be a big deal. For someone over 60, it can be the difference between stability and a dangerous event over time. Speaking of alarms, how you wake up matters more than most people realize. Being suddenly jolted awake by a loud alarm, especially on a phone right next to your head, forces your body to go from deep rest to full alert in 1 or 2 seconds. Researchers have found that being forced awake this way is linked to stronger morning blood pressure surges, which are known to be a risk factor for stroke and heart attack. Instead of a gentle transition, your system gets a shock. Your heart rate jumps, your blood vessels constrict, and stress hormones spike. If this happens every single morning, year after year, it becomes another layer of pressure on your cardiovascular system. Combine that with stiff arteries, possible orthostatic hypotension, skipped breakfast, and dehydration, and you have a combination that can quietly triple the risk of a serious event in the brain. There is one more habit that many people never connect to stroke: starting the day with tension and rushing. Maybe the first thought is, I am late, I need to hurry, and the whole morning becomes a race, rushing to the bathroom, rushing to dress, rushing to answer calls. Chronic stress and constantly being in a hurry keep your nervous system in a state of alert, which maintains higher blood pressure and heart rate for longer periods. Over months and years, this type of lifestyle is linked to more vascular damage, thicker blood, and higher stroke risk. Doctors who study lifestyle and stroke are now very clear. Daily habits, especially in the morning, are a huge part of why stroke cases are rising, even in people who do not seem sick from the outside. The good news is that once you see these patterns, you can start changing them. Small shifts in how you stand up, how you wake up, how you check your blood pressure, and how you handle your phone can all reduce the strain on your brain. And here is the most important part: none of these habits by themselves may feel dramatic. You might think, I just stand up quickly, I just check my phone, I just feel a little dizzy sometimes. But stroke risk rarely comes from one big thing. It comes from small hits, over and over again, on a system that is already more fragile with age. In the next part, we are going to do the opposite of everything that harms you. You will see a simple, realistic morning protocol designed specifically to protect an aging brain: how to wake up, how to move, what to drink, what to eat, and how to calm your system in the first hour of the day, so you are not at war with your own body every morning. Now that you understand all the hidden dangers lurking in your morning routine, it's time for the good news. There is a simple, effective way to protect your brain every day as soon as you wake up. This protocol is based on solid science and practical habits that anyone can implement, especially seniors who want to dramatically lower their stroke risk and improve overall brain health. First and foremost, the moment you wake up, don't jump out of bed. Take a few moments to sit up slowly, breathe deeply, and allow your blood pressure to adjust gradually. This can significantly reduce the risk of those dangerous blood pressure drops or spikes that we talked about earlier. If you feel dizzy or lightheaded, sit back down and stay seated for another minute before standing. Moving slowly is your brain and heart's best friend in the morning. Next, hydration is key. Drinking a glass of water first thing helps thin your blood, improves circulation, and rehydrates after hours without fluids. Avoid caffeine or sugary drinks until after you have rehydrated properly. Water wakes up your kidneys and helps your vessels handle the morning blood pressure surge better. Breakfast is the next crucial step. Make it balanced, with protein, fiber, and healthy fats. This means foods like oatmeal with nuts and berries, eggs with spinach or avocado, or yogurt with seeds and fresh fruit. These foods provide slow-release energy to your brain and stabilize blood sugar, preventing sudden spikes and crashes that stress your vessels. Avoid sugary cereals, pastries, and white bread. They may taste good but do more harm than good to your aging brain. Physical movement is also important, but it should be gentle. After breakfast, a short walk around the house or some light stretching can improve blood flow and reduce stiffness in arteries. This also helps regulate your blood pressure and boosts your mood. Avoid rushing or heavy exertion until your body is fully awake. If you take blood pressure medication, try to take it at the same time every morning, ideally after breakfast and hydration, but follow your doctor's instructions closely. Checking your blood pressure with a reliable monitor can give you valuable feedback on how your morning routine is affecting your cardiovascular health. Finally, try to limit stress in the first hour of waking. Instead of diving right into phone notifications or stressful news, spend a few minutes focusing on deep breathing, mindfulness, or something calming. This reduces the stress hormones that can spike your blood pressure and harm your vessels. Creating a peaceful morning environment literally changes your brain chemistry and protects your heart. In summary, slowing down, hydrating, eating smart, moving gently, managing medication consistently, and lowering stress form the core of a brain-protective morning. Implementing this routine is like giving your brain a daily shield against strokes and cognitive decline. Small changes, big impact. Before we end, I want to quickly tell you about something that can make implementing this protective morning routine even easier and more effective. The product I recommend is the Smoothie Diet, a 21-day program packed with delicious smoothie recipes designed specifically for seniors looking to lose weight, improve energy, and protect their heart and brain health. These smoothies are nutrient-dense and provide steady fuel for your brain, making it easier to keep blood sugar stable and reduce inflammation, two key factors in stroke prevention. If you want to start your transformation and protect your brain with delicious and simple nutrition, check the link in the first pinned comment below this video. Remember, protecting your brain is a daily choice. With the right habits and nutrition, you can significantly reduce your stroke risk and enjoy a healthier, sharper life for years to come.